I've been taking hair loss medications for 1 year and 5 months now. And merong mga nangyari, merong hindi mga nangyari. But for those na nanood ng video ko on how I stopped my receding hairline, update video to for you and I'll be sharing my progress, what I've learned and what I'm going to do, and of course, some tips. So as you guys know, I started my hair loss journey last August 2023 and I started taking a medication called finasteride. Yung dermatologist ko, si Dr. Cheska Quino, prescribed me 1 mg of finasteride per day and also topical minoxidil 5% nung time na yun. This is day 1 of me taking my finasteride pills na prescribe ni Doc sa akin for my receding hairline. But also for yung buhok ko dito sa crown. Kasi sabi ni Doc may konting hair loss na rin dyan. But I'm not so worried because meron ako mga friends na nagkaka-hair loss sila dito. And after they took finasteride pills, nag-regrow ulit yung hair nila. And around ka-age ko lang yung mga kakilala ko. So, yeah. Now, sa finasteride, for the first few weeks, I wasn't really facing any problems. But with topical minoxidil, parang may slight stinging sensation siya the first few days. And akala ko parang yung skincare lang na matapang, na parang kailangan lang mag-adjust ng scalp ko doon sa product na yun. But as the weeks went on, parang kumakati na siya and nagiging sensitive. So, I was told before na usually daw kapag ganun, it's because of a possible allergic reaction sa ingredient na propylene glycol na usually nasa mga minoxidil products. So, I tried looking for other formulations ng minoxidil. Meron akong nakita ang minoxidil na foam, so trinay ko rin yun. Pero parang mas lalo pang na-irritate talaga yung skin ko or yung scalp ko rather. Up to a point na parang lahat na ata ng available na mga minoxidil formulations na try ko na siya, but it's the same thing na nangyayari. So at this point, nag-worry na ako na kasi ang kati-kati na rin talaga, parang nagkaka-hives or parang pantal-pantal na siya. So this was the time in my journey na bumalik ako kay Doc Cheska because I really didn't know kung ano na yung gagawin ko. So that's when Doc Cheska said, okay, stop na muna natin yung topical na minoxidil because baka mas lalo lang na ma-irritate yung area na yon. Especially alam natin na nagkaka-allergic reaction. And later on ko na rin kasi talaga na-learn na kapag ganun kasi laging nangangate or nang-irritate yung skin or namumula, it could be more prone to scarring, which is something na ayaw mo mangyari talaga sa hair mo because magsasara na yung hair follicle pag nangyari yun.
Nagkaka-scar, no? Yung areas, parang poknat, pero yung poknat tutubuan ng buhok pag nawala na yung stress and all. Pero yon, imbis na yung poknat na yon, may hair follicle pa, sarado na.
So,
hindi na rin pwede tumubo.
So sabi ni Doc Cheska, kung na-irritate, kung nangangati na talaga, wag na natin pilitin. And that's when she mentioned na there's still another way to take minoxidil and that is through oral form.
Ang dami ko rin naman pasyente na allergic to the minoxidil solution o yung pamahid. But hindi ibig sabihin nun, allergic ka to the minoxidil itself. You're just allergic to the vehicle. So the most common is the propylene glycol. So yun yung reason kaya shift to oral. But ang kinakabahan ko, and thank you for this platform, na make sure naman na pinaprescribe yon ng dermatologist kasi merong specific milligram. Tandaan, ang oral minoxidil ay talagang for hypertension. So marami siyang side effects pag mali yung milligrams na iniinom mo.
Now, ang challenge when it comes to getting oral minoxidil is medyo behind kasi talaga ang Pilipinas in terms of this. So, mahirap makakuha ng oral minoxidil dito sa Pilipinas. But I did find out na you can get it from a nearby country which is Thailand.
So, I'm here now sa drugstore sa Thailand. This is where I buy yung minoxidil and yung finasteride ko. So, I take oral minoxidil and also, of course, oral finasteride. And mura kasi dito sa Thailand in general. This is near Siam Square 1. So, ito yung finasteride na kinukuha ko from them. It's the brand Firide. And this is 550 baht. Kinalculate ko kasi sa Pilipinas around 80 to 100 pesos per tablet siya. Pero dito lumalabas parang 28 pesos per tablet. Sobrang sulit. So, like I got a lot. At dami kong binili na ano talaga.
Buti na lang talaga, starting 2023 up to 2024, ang dami kong mga work trips sa Bangkok for different brands. So, each time na pumunta talaga ako, sinadya ko na pumunta sa pharmacy nila para bumili ng oral minoxidil. Pero ang problema lang, ang available kasi sa kanila is around 10 mg to 5 mg of minoxidil. That's too high for hair loss. Ang hair loss kasi usually ang recommended lang is 1 to 2.5 mg.
This is yung minoxidil ko. This is oral minoxidil. And this one, actually ito 10 milligrams siya, but yung prescription sa akin is 2.5 milligrams. Super duper mura kasi dito. Well, ito kasi wala akong mahanap sa Pilipinas. So, kung ano man yung price niya, kinukuha ko na lang. But for an entire box of 100 tablets, that's 600 pesos. So, So, 350 baht. 100 tablets siya, diba? Then I split them into 4. So, technically, 400 tablets siya. That's around more than a year, like a year and 4 months. So, yeah.
But anyway, I started oral minoxidil 3 months after I started finasteride. So that was November 2023. So iniisip ko na lang talaga lagi kung gaano katagal ako nagfi-finasteride, -3, yun yung minoxidil. So fast forward to the first 7 months on finasteride and the first 4 months on oral minoxidil, yun yung naging progress ko on my last video na pinakita ko sa inyo on how I stopped my receding hairline. And as I mentioned sa video na yon, parang nagkakaroon na ng konting baby hairs doon sa temple na area ko. And I say parang kasi magkakaiba yung length ng buhok ko doon sa area talaga na yon. So I don't know kung dahil lang humaba yung buhok ko or nag-work talaga yung minoxidil. And dito ko na talaga ma-reveal yung parang honest mistake ko sa journey na to. I didn't take so much progress pictures. Sa totoo lang talaga kasi parang sobrang routine ko na siya and hindi ko na naaalala sa sobrang busy ko sa work and everything. Alam mo yun, parang part na ng routine mo, ginagawa mo na lang siya everyday. It's so automatic to you. Especially since medyo kailangan pa talagang i-angle mo yung camera. Mahirap talaga siya. And so I keep forgetting to do it. Now, sa previous video ko, a lot of people were actually asking this question na in terms of the first few months, meron ba daw ako na-experience na any hair shedding? Now, my dermatologist, si Doc Cheska, also did warn me about possible hair shedding. Pero sinasabi niya na part of the process lang daw talaga siya. But honestly, sa experience ko, again, dahil nga parang sobrang hindi ko na siya iniisip, take lang ako ng take na naantayin ko for a few months na magka-results. Honestly, parang wala rin ako masyado napansin. Kasi nga, sobrang passively ko lang the first few months. I wasn't really expecting anything. Now, aside from those 2 medications, at one point in my journey, I also started to use ketoconazole shampoo. So, 3 times a week ko yun ginagamit. Sabi kasi ni Doc Cheska, though it is an anti-dandruff treatment mainly, pero sabi ni Doc Cheska and also another dermatologist na nakita ko sa internet, I think that was Dr. Shireen Idris. Sabi nila, okay daw siya as a support sa isang parang hair loss routine because it also helps sa pagpapakapal ng hair. Specifically, yung density ng hair natin nakakatulong siya so it makes it feel thicker as well. And since mainly anti-dandruff product nga siya, at least meron akong parang first line of defense against it kung magkaroon man ako, diba? But again, I'm going to be very honest with you guys kasi yung ketoconazole, very drying talaga siya sa hair. And that's one of the reasons na hindi ako naging consistent with it. Kasi meron mga times na meron akong photo shoot and I can't have my hair to be too frizzy. Ang dami ko pang kailangan ilagay sa kanya after. So there were nights na sabihin ko, okay, yung mga ibang shampoo muna yung gagamitin ko, yung hindi masyado nakaka-dry. And so nagtuloy-tuloy yun and nagkaroon ng mga weeks na nakakalimutan ko na talaga siyang gamitin. But I would say safely, I still would try to include it sa routine ko around 1 to 2 times per week. And dahil nga hindi na ako madalas mag-ketoconazole shampoo, the rest of my hair care routine, which was mostly to offset yung dryness ng hair ko from ketoconazole, a lot of them hindi ko na rin tinuloy like yung mga conditioner or hair serums ko. So that's where I'm coming from. Parang naging simplified na lang talaga yung routine ko to kumaga the bare essentials that will help with hair loss. Yung 1 mg of finasteride and 2 mg of minoxidil per day. Yun na yung pinaka-consistent ko talaga na tinuloy-tuloy ko siya. But sa 7 months na yon, fast forward na tayo 10 months after, which means 17 months na tayo as of today na nagtatake ng finasteride. And kung may agwat na 3 months from minoxidil, that means 14 months na tayo nagmi-minoxidil, which means 1 year, almost 1 year and a half na doon sa finasteride and 1 year and 2 months na doon sa minoxidil. So again, like I said a while ago, there were things na nangyari pero meron ding mga things na hindi nangyari. So isa-isay natin sila, starting with the things that did not happen. So the number one thing that did not happen to me is loss of libido. So again, napakarami talagang mga tao na ang worry nila when taking finasteride is loss of libido, mga erectile dysfunction, ganyan-ganyan. But even after a year na nag-take ako ng finasteride, I still don't have those side effects na sinasabi nila from horror stories. Never talaga ako nawala ng gana, parang nadagdagan pa nga. Charot. But seriously guys, throughout naman talaga sa journey ko, parang naiisip ko rin siya. Syempre, I won't lie and say na hindi ako concerned sa ganong parang side effect. But sabi din naman sa akin ni Doc Cheska na hindi siya common na side effect, especially doon sa dosage na tinatake ko ng finasteride. 1 mg of finasteride lang naman tinatake ko, yung mga nakaka-report ng side effects based on yung mga research and studies is 5 mg and up na yung tinatake nila.
Tinype mo talaga sa Google, yun yung laging lalabas. Loss of libido, erectile dysfunction. But remember, if you read through those articles, it's 5 milligrams. Siyempre, para lang yun doon sa mga may prostate hyperplasia, sa urology na yon. Pero para sa hair, 1 milligram lang yung pinaprescribe lang namin. and yung nakalagay sa recommendations. And if you read through it, ilang percent kaya yung nagkakaroon talaga ng ganitong side effects? Sa lahat na uminom na finasteride ng 1 mg, 2.1 to 3.8%. In my siguro mga 3 to 4 years na of checking on hair loss disorders and prescribing finasteride, mga 1 or 2 patients lang talaga yung talaga nagkaroon ng concern, yung naka-feel.
In your years na yun, Doc?
Oo. The rest, talaga, wala.
Actually guys, in my experience din, parang I just try not to overthink it too much. Kasi alam niyo ba yung placebo effect? Placebo effect meaning yung parang nangyari siya kasi either iniisip mo or ine-expect mo subconsciously. So ayokong mangyari yun sa akin. So I don't know how helpful it is, but hindi ko lang siya sobrang iniisip, hopefully to lessen the chances na magka-placebo effect. So sabi ko lang talaga sa sarili ko whenever I get concerned is kung may mangyari, edi stop yung pag-take, diba? So again, very passive ako about it. The second thing that didn't happen to me is unusual hair growths on the body. Na kung sa finasteride, ang horror stories nila is yun nga, mga loss of libido, erectile dysfunction. Sa oral minoxidil naman, ang usual na kinakatakutan ng iba is baka may tumubong hair sa kung saan saang part ng katawan mo. Kasi nga orally mo siyang dinatake. Versus yung topical na minoxidil, ipapahid mo lang siya dito. So doon lang yung ma-affect. And naging concern din talaga siya sa akin, but in my almost more than 1 year of taking oral minoxidil, it really just didn't happen to me. And take note guys hindi hairless yung lahi namin sa pamilya, as in medyo may konting hair, itong arms ko may konting fine hairs sila, do mukhang smooth siya sa camera talaga, pero merong hair, promise, pag zoom in nyo. Yung sa legs ko naman, I also have a moderate amount of hair doon, and also yung underarm hair ko, I also trim it from time to time, so meron talaga akong body hair. But after taking oral minoxidil, even after a year, it just stayed the same. Parang wala akong na-notice na parang kumapal even or anything. So I guess yung horror story na sinasabi nila na mag-grow yung hair mo kung saan-saan, it's not always true. And again, if it does happen, edi yung minoxidil, di ba, kailangan nga para maging consistent yung hair growth mo, you have to stop it. So kung may mangyari man sa katawan mo na any hair growth, then you can just stop the minoxidil and then babalik to zero talaga yung body hair mo kung may mag-grow talaga na anything. So in a way, parang reversible lang din naman siya. So that's why very kalma lang din ako about it. But thankfully, wala namang nangyari sa akin. And if ever it does happen in the future, let's say, okay, more than 1 year or kung umabot ako ng 2 years tapos biglang may tumubo or may kumapal na hair, I'm not so concerned kasi sabi naman ni Doc, pwede naman daw siya ipa-laser. And the third and last thing na hindi nangyari sa akin, surprise, is actually major hair regrowth. Na alam ko naman na obviously hindi babalik yung hairline ko to how it was nung high school ako or when I was younger. But part of me, syempre, nag-wish pa rin na kumapal yung hair ko doon, especially doon sa temple area. Kasi in fairness naman, medyo nagkaroon siya ng baby hairs a little after 2 to 3 months of me taking minoxidil, especially yung oral minoxidil. But after those 2 to 3 months of konting growth, parang yun na siya. Technically, parang nandyan pa rin yung slightly high na temples ko. But don't get me wrong, I was prepared na baka nga hindi naman mangyari yung major hair regrowth. Kasi sabi na naman sa akin ni Doc Cheska, kung hindi siya mangyari, at the very least, napigil mo yung further na pag-recede or pag-akyat ng hairline mo compared to kung hindi ka nag-take, edi akyat lang siya ng akyat. So to me, hindi siya sayang sa oras at effort, meron pa ring result. And at least, na-stop mo na talaga siya, di ba? And actually, when I show my hairline to my friends, they always tell me na parang, it's not even that high to begin with. Like, sinasabi nila na meron na silang nakitang iba na mas mataas pa yung hairline. And actually, in a way, yun nga iniisip ko parang baka yun ba yung reason na hindi ako masyado nagka-hair growth? Kasi konti lang naman yung ni-recede ng hairline ko talaga. And I don't know, that just kind of puts things into perspective for me. And at least, di ba, parang na-stop na talaga most of all, which is yung ultimate goal ko naman talaga. Now, I do hope that this doesn't discourage some people from taking finasteride and minoxidil because yung hair regrowth naman can still happen for some people. Case-to-case basis lang talaga siya. Yung temple kasi na area natin, sabi ni Doc, yung parang mga hair follicles daw doon is yung pinaka-resistant talaga to regrowth. But as per Doc Cheska, pwede pa rin naman kumapal yung hair mo sa area na yun. So iba rin kasi yung kumapal siya versus sa maraming tumubo na hair sa kanya. Minsan kasi yung iba, ang kailangan lang nila is kumapal yung hair nila sa area na yun and it will look better. Hindi naman kailangan talagang regrowth palagi. And what's more, if yung hair loss mo is nasa crown or yung dito sa likod na area, this one actually is yung pinaka-responsive sa hair regrowth. So don't lose hope, especially kung dito yung hair loss ninyo, maraming pag-asa. And speaking of this area, actually ako nga dati akala ko wala namang nangyayari sa crown area ko, pero meron din pala nung nagpa-check ako kay Doc Cheska. So at least with finasteride and minoxidil, hindi naman siya nag-thin out. And again, my fault for not taking any progress pictures sa crown area ko. Hindi ko rin talaga siya masyadong napapansin, pero as of now, parang wala din naman ako nakikita or nafe-feel na thinning out na sa kanya whatsoever. Especially since consistently pa rin naman ako nagte-take ng finasteride and minoxidil. So yun lang naman yung mga hindi nangyari, but also I want to focus on yung mga nangyari talaga sa hair ko. And yung number one thing na nangyari is no more receding or no more recession nung hairline ko. And this was my ultimate goal sa journey na na to, I'm so proud to say talaga guys na after even just 7 months in sa finasteride, and that's actually why napapost na ako ng video on my hair loss journey nung time na yon, kasi talaga nakita na ako ng progress doon sa hairline ko, and alam ko talaga na nag-stop na siya sa pag-recede. Usually kasi dati nung hindi pa ako nagtitake ng hair loss medications, parang every year may nakikita akong tumataas talaga sa hairline ko, but after documenting my finasteride journey, wala na talaga akong worries na umaakit siya, as in it really just stopped receding. Dito ko rin na-realize yung sinasabi ni Doc na if hindi man mag-regrow yung hair mo, at least napigil mo na yung pag-recede. And yun pa lang, satisfied na talaga ako. But aside from yung pag-stop ng pag-recede ng hairline ko, siguro meron pang isang, siguro parang pampalubag loob or consolation prize na nangyari sa akin. In exchange for yung hindi nangyari na major hair regrowth, what actually happened to me was I got thicker hair. Since our last consultation, yun pa yung nag-prescribe ka sa akin ng medications.
Yeah,
diba?
I have thicker hair. I'm so happy.
Oh my God! Oh, diba? Short hair pa ako ngayon so that is a big compliment. Now, yung thickness ng hair ko, actually ito, na-notice ko na siya in my own experience lang kasi again, very passive ako in this journey. Siguro mga after 1 year already on oral minoxidil ko siya na-feel. Now, aside from yung top part ng hair ko na parang medyo mas luscious na yung feeling niya kapag isang ginaganon ko siya, yung sa temples ko rin talaga na hair, parang hindi na lang small strands of hair yung meron niya. Parang may kita mo talaga na kumapal siya or parang dumami yung mga baby hairs that make it appear thicker. So again, ito yung difference of yung thickness ng hair or yung pagka-full ng area versus yung major hair regrowth talaga na nag-grow yung ibang areas. And para sa akin, I think this kind of helped me experiment with more hairstyles with my barber, which actually very underestimated yung part na to sa journey ko na aside from taking of course yung mga necessary na hair loss medications, it's also very important to work with your barber to find a hairstyle that will suit and complement yung hairline mo. Kasi talaga dati yung hairstyle ko, makikita nyo sa older videos ko, yung parang sobrang nakaakyat na naka-side part na medyo mas prominent mo na talagang makita yung temples ko doon. So unlike before, nung medyo mababa pa yung hairline ko, hindi na talaga siya masyadong bagay for me. But thanks to my barber and of course my thicker hair, mas nakapaghanap tayo ng iba't ibang mga hairstyles to see which one talaga yung babagay sa akin. But aside from my hair on top, actually sa journey na to, meron pang isang na-affect na hair sa akin. And no, hindi pa rin siya sa body ko. It was actually yung facial hair ko because I experienced faster facial hair growth. Mostly talaga yung facial hair ko lang dito sa may mustache area and dito sa baba. Ang bilis lang talaga nila tumubo. Syempre hindi nyo sila makikita ngayon kasi bagong shave lang ako today. Pero talaga guys, as in swear, mga 2 or 3 days after nitong time na nag-shave ako, makikita nyo na agad tumubo na talaga siya. Comparing to maybe 2 to 3 years ago, it would take almost a week before mag-grow talaga siya. Now, this might be a mix of also being in my late 20s kasi syempre, the older you get, medyo mas mabilis na rin talaga tumubo yung facial hair mo. But I really think na ever since nag-take ako ng oral minoxidil, parang nag-contribute talaga siya sa pagkabilis ng pagtubo ng facial hair ko. Actually, sa start, nag-worry nga ako kasi nakita ko sa TikTok, meron yung mga iba na nagkaka-facial hair sila dito sa part ng face na to. And yung nakita ko na natubuan, babae siya. So natakot ako syempre as lalaki na mas prone na mag-grow ng facial hair, baka magkaganon ako. But thankfully, in my experience, wala naman. Siguro if ever, parang fine hairs lang naman yung nandito ko, but I think I've had fine hairs here ever since before. And lahat din naman, boys and girls, meron sila yung mga fine hair, diba? Kaya meron sila yung mina-microblade, yung parang peach fuzz na tinatawag nila. So it's not really anything major versus yung mag-grow talaga yung hair mo dito. So basically, yun na yung nangyari sa hair ko, 17 months on finasteride or more than a year on finasteride. But I also want to share with you guys 2 more things that might be helpful, especially kung meron kayong mga hair loss journeys. I also want to share with you guys, number 1, my learnings in this hair loss journey, and number 2, yung mga next steps ko na gagawin in my own hair loss journey. So let's start first with my learnings, and I think the first one is also the most important in my opinion. It's the notion na mawala na ang lahat ng mga hair loss treatments basta wag ang finasteride and minoxidil. I'm sure i-remind mo ulit, Doc, na minoxidil and finasteride.
Oh, yun pa din, first line.
First line talaga. Ito is just I guess a really
Add-on.
good add-on. Now, when it comes to hair loss, siguro marami sa atin nasanay na sa parang skincare approach na, oh, baka merong over-the-counter product for it na makakatulong. But with hair loss, you have to remember na the only FDA-approved medications for hair loss are oral finasteride and topical minoxidil. Now, yes, meron kayong makitang mga products sa market na, let's say, mga hair tonic, herbal shampoo, collagen, mga hair loss supplements, ganyan, and it will say that it's FDA-approved or FDA-notified, but they're only FDA-notified in terms of safety. Hindi sila parang minoxidil and finasteride na FDA-approved medication for actual hair loss, which is ultimately yung unang-unang mo talagang gustong i-prioritize.
For me, hindi ako pumapayag i-hair transplant isang patient kung ang point of view niya ay hindi na siya iinom ng finasteride at magpapahid. Why? Kasi yung dito, yun lang yung nilagyan mo ng buhok. But syempre, meron pa yung dati mong natitira na may buhok pa, pero in 10 years, magre-recede na rin.
When you think about it guys, sa hair loss din kasi ang kalaban mo is time. So the more time we spend or the more time we waste looking at other products na, okay, nakakita ako ng positive review from 1 or 2 people or may nakarecommend sa akin na friend na okay daw siya versus actual medications na sabi nga ni Doc Cheska, tinest na sa buong mundo and proven siya na may results. Syempre, dun tayo, di ba? Kasi syempre, mas sure na rin siya and we don't waste any time because yung hair na naandyan pa sa atin, we can save it as soon as possible. So my main point being, dun na tayo sa FDA-approved medication for hair loss. But how do you know if finasteride lang ba yung dapat i-take mo or minoxidil lang ba or both or kung ano lang yung kaya ng budget mo siguro? And that's where my next learning comes in, which is, it's important to have your hair checked first.
As a dermatopathologist, so usually kapag kinakabahan ako na medyo related to a systemic disease, I get a skin sample, I read it, and then if tama yung kutob ko, I explain to the patient, iba rin ang gamot niya. Kaya importante talaga magpa-check up di ba?
Now, one of the reasons hair loss medications might not work on someone is simply because hindi siya match doon sa hair loss condition ng person na yun. Yung finasteride and minoxidil kasi, yes, FDA-approved medication siya for male or female pattern hair loss. Pero yung male or female pattern hair loss, isa lang siya sa napakaraming iba't ibang types ng hair loss that might need to be addressed in different ways with different medications. So again, para hindi na sayang yung oras nyo, para hindi kayo masyado nagta-trial and error, especially when you have so much hair to save, it's so much better to just have it checked para accurately nyo na rin siyang makita kung ano ba talaga siya and para finally maagapan nyo na. Now for those who don't know, covered pa rin ng mga board-certified dermatologists natin yung hair problems natin because again, hair, skin, and nail doctors sila. And if you want to learn how to consult with a board-certified dermatologist either for free or kung may konting pambayad ka para mas mabilis yung maging process mo overall, I'll put a guide sa I button on how you can do that. And another reason why it's very important to consult with a derma on this is also because, ang daming natatakot talaga when it comes to side effects. And again, ang dami nating kinakatakutan, including me before, na takot mag-take ng finasteride because baka magka-loss of libido ako. Pero lahat ng mga fears ko, wala namang nangyari sa akin. And this is also very related sa next learning ko, which is, not all side effects happen, and if they do, they can be managed. Now, first and foremost, yung dermatologist ninyo, kapag nag-consult kayo sa kanila, they will always explain to you if merong any risks yung mga medications na ipiprescribe nila sa iyo. Lagi sila magtatanong muna if, let's say, may plan ka ba na magka-family soon, or if may history ka ba of certain health conditions, and yung part talaga na to is to check kung eligible ka para sa gamot na yun. And I think it's also very worth noting na yung mga nakikita nating horror stories sa social media, sa TikTok, sa Reddit, again, there might be times kasi na they're blown out of proportion or wala ka pa masyado nakuhang context sa mga horror stories na yon. Kasi talaga guys, hindi siya nangyayari sa lahat. Again, including sa akin na wala namang nangyari sa lahat ng mga kinakatakutan kong side effects. But even if mangyari sila, again, kampante lang ako because naandyan naman yung dermatologist ko. They can always help me find ways to move forward while managing yung mga side effects na yun. And a lot of these kasi guys, kapag nangyari sila, pwede mo naman gawin is to at least just stop it. Tapos hindi na sila mangyayari. So the main point here being, kailangan mo lang talagang ipaalam sa dermatologist mo yung mga issues or yung mga fears na meron mo.
So, ibig sabihin, huwag matatakot, no? Pag pinrescribe, always ask your doctor. Lahat ng fears nyo, hindi pwedeng tanggap lang ng prescription. We're there to answer all your questions, di ba? O, para hindi natatakot sa ganyan.
And my final learning sa journey na to, which I think is actually very underrated, is your haircut is just as important. Now, a lot of people see yung mga haircut natin as maybe like a band-aid solution para lang matago or makonceal yung mga parang parts ng hair natin na hindi natin gusto. But in my own hair loss journey, I realized na hindi siya one or the other eh. It's also about, taking the right hair loss medications, but also having a good haircut that complements yung shape ng head mo or yung shape ng face mo and relative to how high your hairline might be. And sa mga natatakot na baka ma-judge sila, minsan nga yung mga barbero, sila pa yung pinaka-least judgmental. As in, sinasabi lang nila how it is na, oh sir, ito baka bumagay talaga siya sa hairline mo. So kung sila na mismo nagsasabi, diba, parang as matter of fact lang, parang there's nothing to be shy about kasi nakikita na rin naman nila eh. And I really wanted to touch on this topic more because a big factor talaga sa hair loss, aminin natin, is really yung confidence natin. And hindi rin talaga natin made-deny na appearance plays a huge factor in this kasi nga, dito nanggagaling yung insecurity natin, diba? So that's why it's also important to have a barber na pwede mong makausap to find the right hairstyle for you. Kasi ang na-learn ko rin is, yes, you can stop your hairline from receding, yes, you can also make your hair thicker, pero pag hindi talaga bagay yung gupit or hairstyle mo sa'yo, or it doesn't doesn't complement yung face shape mo or yung hairline ninyo well, then at the end of the day, parang medyo may effect din siya sa appearance mo, diba? Like for example, ako, diba, nag-stop na yung pag-recede ng hairline ko, pero yung hairline ko pa rin is still relatively high. So ang ginawa ko is, I communicated with my barber paano ko ba i-frame yung mukha ko in such a way na hindi sobrang na-emphasize talaga yung mataas kong temples. Kaya talaga manonotice nyo sa mga later videos ko up to now, parang nag-experiment ako with different hairstyles. I tried full bangs, I tried a curtain cut, I tried something like this na curtain na medyo hindi siya masyadong maayos. But one thing is for sure, and nagagawa niya successfully, it stops emphasizing the area. Now, marami kayong makikitang mga barbero sa TikTok ngayon na nag-hair consultation. I think meron din sa Facebook kung mas doon kayo tumitingin. Ginagawa nila, kakausapin muna nila yung client kung ano bang hair yung gusto nila and then doon sila gugupit. So, it's nice to look into that first kung meron ba kayong barber na siguro malapit sa area ninyo na gumagawa ng mga hair consultations. Kasi it's a really good way to communicate with your barber with the hairstyle na gusto mo talaga. But if you want a reco from me, one of the barbers na nahanap ko sa TikTok and napag-consultan ko na and medyo successful naman kami is Sir Gum Cruz. Nakita ko lang yung videos niya sa TikTok and he was really able to help me find haircuts and hairstyles na mas babagay talaga, not just with my high hairline, but also with my face shape and of course yung shape din ng head ko. There's also so much to learn when it comes to sa hair with the hairstyles and also yung shape ng head mo para malaman mo kung ano talaga yung pinakabagay sa'yo. It's not just about the hairline, it's also different parts of your head. But for those na curious sa haircut ko, what I usually say to my barber, basically I just say na textured fringe kasi actually itong hairstyle ko kaya may bumababa siya ng ganun. Ang normal niya kasi is naka full fringe siya or full bangs. Tapos ginaganon ko lang para hindi siya masyadong magulo. And then sa sides, ang sinasabi ko is just a mid to low taper. Itong nakikita nyo ngayon, this is a mid taper na siguro mga 1 week na siya nag-grow. Yung low taper, parang usually dito lang siya sa baba. And for those who don't know, yung taper, basically i-shave nila yung ditong part mo tsaka yung ditong part mo sa likod. And usually, ang bumabagay is mid to low taper for those na medyo mataas yung hairline like me or yung medyo wide talaga yung forehead nyo. Actually, dati nga yung gusto kong hairstyle or yung sa sides, gusto ko talagang fine-fade siya pero apparently hindi pala siya bagay sa head shape ko kasi parang may lumulubog na part dito. So, hindi siya yung parang malinis na fade. So, ayun, taper na lang yung kinuha ko and this is a mid taper. And then sa taas, again, I just say textured fringe. And that's basically it. Now, mostly those are the most important things na nalearn ko sa journey na to. But a lot of you might also be curious, from here ba, ano nang gagawin ko? So, what's next basically sa hair loss journey ko? Well, as of now, very satisfied naman ako sa results ko from finasteride and minoxidil. So, I plan to continue that. But I just want to try a little bit more in terms of hair regrowth sa temples before ko masabing, okay, give up na talaga ako. So, I am considering yung mga in-clinic procedures na parang magiging add-on sila doon sa currently na tinatake kong finasteride and minoxidil. And ang kinoconsider ko actually is one of the most affordable procedures when it comes to hair loss, which is yung PRP mesotherapy. PRP meaning platelet-rich plasma, which means kukuha sila ng blood mo and then papaikutin nila sa machine called a centrifuge para makuha yung parang liquid gold that contains growth factors. And then mesotherapy kasi ang meaning nun is injection. So, i-inject nila yon sa hair ko to encourage hair regrowth. Now, if ever mangyari man siya, I will be documenting yung journey na to. So, abangan nyo na lang yun this year. Pero yun talaga yung tina-target ko ngayon, yung PRP. Alam ko marami naman nag-o-offer dito, pero naghahanap lang talaga ako yung siguro yung pinaka-reputable na makakapagbigay ng procedure na to. And siguro, assuming na skin clinic yon, probably with an expert as well that I can consult just so we can properly track our progress. Now, another in-clinic procedure na kinoconsider ko is yung pinakabagong technology ngayon na if you ask dermatologists, very ano talaga sila about it, natutuwa sila because very promising siya. It's called exosomes and basically, hindi mo na kailangan kumuha ng dugo and ipaikot siya sa centrifuge. Parang meron na talagang growth factors na ginawa sa lab. And yung exosomes, basically, vial na sila of growth factors, meaning hindi na kailangan mag-extract ng dugo sa'yo, hindi siya papaikutin. So, technically, mas mabilis siya na procedure, but if I remember correctly, medyo mas mahal siya. And also, of course, medyo mas bago pa lang yung research sa kanya. So, start muna tayo dun sa pinaka-reliable, which is PRP. Siguro down the line, if meron ako mahanap na reputable talaga for exosomes as well, and also, maybe hair transplant? I don't know. Actually nga, pinag-iisipan ko kung kailangan ko na ba talaga ng hair transplant. Parang hindi pa naman, especially since, yung nga, sabi ni Doc Cheska, yung pag-recede kasi ng hairline mo happens twice in your life. Yung isa is sa late 20s mo, which, ayun na nga, late 20s. And the other one is parang pag-approaching 40s ka na. And syempre, kailangan mo rin talaga ang pag-isipan siya kasi what if maubusan ka ng hairs for the second time around na magpapa-hair transplant, diba? So, I'm still trying to think about it. Parang as of now, hindi ko pa naman iniisip yon. Probably as a very, very last resort na siya. Pero kung kakayanin pa ng PRP or ng exosomes, yun muna itatry ko. Specifically, PRP muna kasi mas mura siya. But all in all, mas gusto ko lang talaga mag-work ng mas closely with medical experts and my own dermatologist on this to see kung ano ba yung right course of action talaga para sa situation ko. But ultimately, very hopeful naman ako and very happy with where I've gone so far in my hair loss journey, especially because I know I'm on the right direction sa journey na to. And if you are also going on your own hair loss journey and if you want to know more about yung parang right path na sinasabi ko when it comes to hair loss, specifically yung mga male and female pattern hair loss, I'll also be putting some hair videos here that contain a lot of information and hopefully makatulong din sila in helping you out in your own journey. And as usual guys, thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye!